How's it going, everybody? Nerds Rising here, and welcome back to the Nerd Cave. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some absolutely outrageous spice featuring a Triple Regi Theme Team in the Open Ultra League. And let me tell you guys, there are some crazy wins in here. I briefly watched a couple of them just to see what we're getting into, and you guys are not going to be disappointed. Now, if you're taking a look at Pink God 777's ELO here, this trainer is sitting around the higher 2800. So these are not some low ELO battles where the opponent's running underpowered mons or off meta picks. This is the upper tier of the expert range where everybody's grinding it out, and all of the teams that we're going to see are likely going to be very meta, and the players are probably also going to be very good. So the fact that this trainer was able to get any wins with this team is absolutely mind-blowing to me. But let's just get into the battles here. Let's see what Pink God 777 has in store for us today. And by the way, not only did this trainer say they beat some Swamperts, but they also were somehow able to beat some counter users in this video. And let's get into it here. So we have a Jellicent lead here in the first battle. Not too bad for the Regi. Definitely where you want to see it if you're going to see one. And the unfortunate thing here with this team is that, I mean, there's a lot of unfortunate things with this team, to be honest, but one of the unfortunate things is you just have absolutely no fast move pressure. So that's going to make it somewhat difficult to do, like if a move doesn't KO, it's going to be very difficult to farm something down with lock-on. So the opponent pivoted out of the Jellicent there after they got the debuff on their attack, and they bring in a Galarian Weezing. So this is not bad at all. At the worst, the opponent can just throw Brutal Swings here, it looks like. The other thing I guess they could throw is Play Rough, but it's still really not going to be doing that much on a bulky mon like Regirock. So does take it out, doesn't have to use a shield. And now the opponent's going to bring back in that Jellicent. And again, as you're seeing, it looks like he's going to need probably at least 2 more Stone Edges here to KO. And it's going to be a very difficult lock-on down. Lives on 1 HP. Very nice call there. Going to make this Stone Edge. But again, this Jelly is just not in lock-on down range. So unfortunately, probably going to have to expend an entire charge move to take this thing out, even though it's extremely low, and the opponent's back Pokemon is a Guzzlord. So this is going to be a little bit tricky here, but does still have 2 shields, and gets the final shield with the Focus Blast there. So now, I think Regice here should be able to close this out. And yeah, the Registeel goes down, but Regice still has 2 shields, and I'm imagining from a Shadow Regice that the Blizzard is probably going to be one-shotting this Guzzlord. Guzzlord, of course, is extremely bulky, but let's see, is Blizzard going to one-shot? And very nice discipline there. The opponent went for a catch, undercharges the Earthquake, still KOs, but at the very least doesn't waste all the energy on a Blizzard, because Earthquake is slightly cheaper there. And Shadow Blizzard does one-shot the Guzzlord. Very nicely done in game 1. So yeah, that was a pretty good team comp, but still just a little bit awkward. I really like the way this trainer's playing so far. And in the next battle, we have a Giratina altered into the Registeel here. And guys, I'm probably going to be butchering this commentary because there's so many different Regis that I'm supposed to be saying. I'm definitely going to be mixing them up. But we have Registeel here into a Dragon Breath Giratina. And this is kind of an awkward matchup all around. Does get the Zap Cannon debuffs there, so that kind of forces the opponent to pivot out, and they have a double here now, and this is looking pretty good, honestly, for the whole team. Obviously, all 3 of the Regis are going to be taking super effective from the double kicks, but at the very least, the Regirock here and the Registeel are both going to be resisting the body slam. So I like the play here of just bringing in the Regirock, because that forces them to go for their more expensive payback. But again, this double is just not in lock-on down range, so going to have to expend an entire charge move, despite the fact that they're very low. And this Giratina, I don't believe, threw any energy into the Registeel. So Regirock here is going to have to tank some moves. And going to call here that Regirock can live 2 and still make the Stone Edge. And they do. Very nicely done. But again, this Giratina is just going to need multiple more charge moves to get rid of it, because you're just not going to be lock-on downing a Giratina altered. And Registeel there, unfortunately, cannot make the Zap Cannon. And now it's pretty much all going to be up to Regice at this point, and actually brings in the Regirock there. Not sure that's the play. Probably should have just brought the Regice in, but maybe thought he had more energy than he did. And or her, by the way. I'm never sure, guys. You know, this trainer here has the female avatar, but I mean, who knows? Like, it doesn't mean just because you have a female avatar that you're a female. I always used to have a female avatar when I played some of the OG games back in the day, like RuneScape, just for fun. But it looks like we're going to be okay here, because the opponent's final Pokemon here is a Registeel, and it looks like from the Shadow Regice here, 2 Earthquakes should KO, and actually gets a beautiful undercharge, and that should allow him to outpace the Dragon Breath Giratina Alter. Very nicely done there. That undercharge actually might have been necessary, because it looks like he might have gotten Dragon Breath down if he wouldn't have done that. So very, very impressive win in that game. And we're moving on into game 3, and we have an Alolan Sandslash here. So this is not too bad. All 3 of our Registeels, our Regis, whatever, can hit this thing for super effective damage. And I'm imagining that probably a Focus Blast does just about one-shot here. So the opponent's going to be forced to shield. They do shield it up. And if you can get shields down early, that's really ideal for this team, because what you really don't want is for the opponents to hold onto their shield and save them for the end game. Because, again, there's just no fast move pressure at all on this team. So it can be very difficult if there's still shields in play. But fortunately, the opponent does double shield pretty early here and brings in the Regice. This makes quite a bit of sense, because Regice, unlike the other 2 Regis, could resist, or not resist, but don't take super effective damage from that drill run. The opponent brings in a Cresselia here, and I'm imagining we're probably going to need 2 moves. So may just go double Earthquake here, but no, going to go for the Blizzard here. How much is this actually going to do on this Cresselia? And yeah, going to need 2 moves anyway. So maybe it would have been better there just to go double Earthquake, but I still think the Cresselia probably would have outpaced, so it doesn't really matter either way. And I like this play. It's going to bring in the Registeel here, force them to throw, and then probably going to give 2 shields to the Regirock. And no, actually banks the move there and then brings in the Regirock. So I like that play. Does have energy stored on the Registeel, and now Regirock just has to make the Focus Blast. And I think this should be a G to the G here. The Focus Blast does KO. Have we actually seen their final Mon yet? No, we actually haven't seen their final Mon. I have no idea what's going on. And now Regirock here needs to make 2 Stone Edges on this Ampharos, and it does look like maybe a second Stone Edge will just about KO here after a few more lock-ons. It's going to be very close. Regirock's going to have to tank a move here. Can it do it? It does take the Brutal Swing and does make the Stone Edge here. Is this going to be enough to KO? And yes, it is. And again, fortunately, the Registeel did bank a move. So that banking a move there was actually very crucial to winning this game. And takes another improbable win somehow. We've seen the Regis get like 3 or 4 wins at this point. So very impressive so far by Pink God here. And we have a Galvantula. Sorry guys, I'm having trouble here today. I just woke up. I'm going into a 4-night streak in a row of night shifts here. So I went to bed super late. I went to bed at like 5:30 in the morning, and I woke up at like 2 p.m. So that just kind of throws off your circadian rhythm when you're trying to switch back and forth. Because I do switch back and forth. I do work night shift, but I have a family as well, so I tend to switch back to a day schedule when I'm off work. So I was just off for like 4 or 5 days. So usually the first day back is pretty rough. Shout out to any fellow night shifters in the comments who switch back and forth between days and nights. You guys know it can be a little rough on your body. And there, fortunately, the Tapu Fini was not counting, and they shielded that Focus Blast, and that is massive. Really needs to get these shields off of the opponent in order to land these heavy-hitting moves, and I think 2 Earthquakes should KO here. The opponent, I believe, did bank some energy on their Galvantula, so Pink God here is going to have to keep that in mind for the end game. And I believe, did the Registeel go down? Yeah, the Registeel, actually, no. Save the Registeel on low HP as well, so maybe you'll use that as a catch later on. And we are going to overfarm, take out this Tapu Fini here. Does still have a shield, and the opponent is going to bring back in the Galvantula. I guess they didn't store some... I thought they banked a move, but I guess they didn't. And now, what is going to be that final Pokemon? And it's a Pidgeot. Oh no, opponent. Unfortunately, doesn't make the Blizzard, but it does not matter. Has an absolute wall to this Pidgeot here, the opponent top left. So that is one positive of this team. If you are seeing Flyers just have absolutely nowhere to hide against this team. So next battle, another Galvantula. Another pretty awkward matchup where the Regi obviously is going to be technically fully walled in terms of charge moves, but these moves still do quite a bit of damage on the glassy Galvantula, and especially if you can throw together a couple attack debuffs like that one there, this gets to be pretty awkward for the Galvantula. I'm imagining Registeel probably does win the zeros. I think probably 2 Zap Cannons just about KOs plus the lockouts. I'm not sure on that. I definitely could be wrong, but yeah, that looks like it does slightly over half, so probably Regi would be winning the zeros. And as we've seen here, Pink God just likes to basically no-shield the Regi in the lead and just try to get shields down. That way the heavier hitting Regis in the back can sweep, because Registeel obviously does have the lowest attack of the Regis. So the Regice and the Regirock do have some more one-shot potential than the Registeel, and Again, we've already seen this. 2 Earthquakes from the Shadow Regice does KO the Registeel. And by the way, guys, am I butchering the way I'm saying Regice? Is it pronounced Regice or is it Regice? Because there's actually only one I in there, so I could see it being either way, but every other one of the Regis, you say Regi, not just Reg, so who knows? Somebody let me know in the comments. Does Nerds Rising have any idea what he's doing when he's commentating, or am I just making stuff up as I go? Who knows, really? But here, we've got a Jellicent, and unfortunately, it would have been nice to catch this on the lead, because now we've got to somehow take this out with probably 3 charge moves. I'm imagining 2 Stone Edges is probably not going to be anywhere near enough in the Ultra League, and it's not. We're going to need a 3rd, and I think this should KO here. If the opponent wants to give up their shield, then now all shields are going to be down. And I think, will he shield here? Oh, no, he's not going to shield here because he has no shields. And actually makes a beautiful catch here onto the Surf. Very nicely done. And I think should be able to outpace on the Regirock. Or do you bring in the Regice here? I'm just going to call it Regice. I'm going to commit to it, guys. It's going to be called Regice from now on. And unfortunately, does get outpaced. Can you hang on, buddy? No, you cannot. And I think at this point, fast moves are probably just going to be too much. I think he's going to get hexed down before he makes a movement. Oh my gosh. Actually, the timer came up there. Let's go back here. Would Pink God here have made a move on this Jellicent before the timer came up? I'm not 100% sure here. I think he was probably going to get hexed down before he made another Stone Edge. And yeah, based on that amount of health left, I think that was probably a GG. So really unfortunate there to lose to the timer, but probably was over anyway. But either way, here is the counter user, guys, that we've been waiting for. A Shadow Poliwrath. And we'll have to see if Pink God can pull off the dub here. This is, I guess if you're going to see a fighter, it's great to see the Poliwrath, because at the very least, the Poliwrath is definitely going to have to respect the Zap Cannon. They do respect it, does get the attack debuff as well. And the opponent does try to commit to the farm down, but at the very last second, they throw on CMP. And yeah, I think this is definitely worth the shield. This should definitely be guaranteeing that second shield. And no, the opponent just lets it go. Poliwrath gets one-shotted. That is absolutely perfect. And they pivot into a Shadow Alolan Ninetales. And going to answer with the Regice here. That makes quite a bit of sense because this is going to force the opponent to go for the Dazzling Gleam here, which they do go for. But the Regirock would be taking neutral damage from the ice moves, whereas the Regice is going to be resisting them. So, yeah, oh my gosh, guys, I'm getting tongue-twisted here saying the Regi over and over again. But we have a Shadow Alolan Sandslash in back here, and does have all shields down at this point, so I think we're looking pretty good. Although this Shadow Alolan Sandslash does have quite a bit of energy, so this might get a little bit tricky here. I think he should just make the Focus Blast, does make it, and now just has to hope he can outpace the A9 here. But the A9 did leave with some residual energy, so this is actually going to get close. Oh no, tries to make the catch, and that catch might have just cost the game here. I think he was going to get outpaced anyway. Yeah, he was going to get outpaced anyway because he had no shield, so I think the catch was the only win con there, but the opponent showed some very good discipline over farming, so very difficult match there. Was that a triple Shadow Team by the opponent as well? That was a really cool triple Shadow Team by the opponent, so massive respect to the opponent there. And we have a Charizard lead here in the next battle, and since this is not a Shadow Charizard, the Registeel can tank 1 Blast Burn, and it looks like we're probably just going to see, again, no shields on the Regi, maybe calling a bait. The opponent does not bait, but does get a shield off of the opponent, and going to save that Regirock for the Charizard in the end game. Brings in the Shadow Regice to the Cresselia, and what is Shadow Regice going to be able to pull off here in this matchup against the Cresselia? And that does a lot of damage. Shadow Blizzard does so much there. Oh my gosh. It looks like 2 Shadow Blizzards actually might KO a Cresselia, and that is pretty impressive, to be completely honest with you guys, because very few things in this game can 2-shot a Cresselia, and yeah, just barely doesn't 2-shot, gets a couple extra lock-ons. They bring back in the Charizard, and there's a Shadow Swampert in the back. And Shadow Swampert is definitely not what you want to see here, but this is actually looking pretty good here. I think he probably has this game in the bag, because Shadow Swampert now no shields the Focus Blast, and now should be able to just go straight for the Stone Edges here. And 2 Stone Edges, looks like 2 Stone Edges should get the shield and then KO the Swampert. And I think we should be okay here, because the Charizard obviously is not going to be able to do anything to this Regirock whatsoever. And this should be a G to the G here. Actually brings in the Regice, probably just forcing them to throw. Yeah, they're going to have to dump their energy, and now Regirock should make the Stone Edge here. Even if this is a Blast Burn, the Regirock should be able to tank this pretty easily. Just a Dragon Claw. And yeah, one more Dragon Claw, definitely not going to KO here. And I don't even think a Blast Burn would KO from here, honestly. And while it actually was the Blast Burn there, becomes pretty close in the end game there, but very nicely played, taking out the Shadow Swampert. And that is going to be a G to the G. So pretty impressive win so far. Based on the time, it looks like we probably have maybe 3 or 4 battles left. And in this battle, we have a Virizion, and this might be the worst fighting type that you can see, because this thing can hit all 3 of our Pokemon for super effective damage, and the Zap Cannons are going to be resisted, the Stone Edges are going to be resisted, and yeah, this is just looking really, really rough here. The opponent does overfarm massively as well, which is a really nice play by the opponent, recognizing that if he's staying in with a Registeel, he must be core broken by this Virizion, and unfortunately does have to actually give up a shield to get this Focus Blast off, and the opponent, at this point, it makes a lot of sense. The opponent's just going to match shields, recognizing that the Virizion is very important, and since they've now seen this Regice, they're probably going to be expecting that there's going to be a third Regi in the back, and they actually just bring in their own Registeel, probably at this point just recognizing that the Virizion is probably going to be the win con here, so they're likely just going to be fully sacking the Registeel. That's exactly what they do, and now I think, guys, I think Virizion is going to fully sweep this team here. I'm just not seeing a way out for Pink God here. Again, the opponent is massively overfarming very, very nicely, and yeah, I think we're going to need to see a catch probably on the Registeel, but even then, I'm not even sure if the catch is going to make it. It does get the catch, very nicely done, but I still just think this Virizion just has so much energy, and they have their own Regirock in the back, so they are also running a Regi team, but with the Virizion lead, yeah, the opponent's just going to save their shield for the Virizion, and unfortunately, the Regirock does win CMP here, and it's an Earthquake, and yeah, this game is just now over. I'm not seeing any win con, unless the opponent here just, like, drops dead suddenly. This is a GG, and yeah, well played there. Respect to Pink God there for playing it out, but Virizion just proves to be a little bit too much for this team, and we're moving into the next battle here. And again, guys, sorry. I'm just really struggling right now. I always like to try to get up a little early if I can before my night shifts, just to get the content out to you guys, because I am going to be working 4 in a row, so I'm not going to probably be able to, well, I probably will put out a video maybe on like Saturday or Sunday, but basically when I work night shift, I work 7 p.m. to 7, like I get home at like 7:45 in the morning. I sleep until usually like 3 or 4 p.m. and then I just get back up, I eat dinner, hang out with my wife and baby for a little bit, and I go right back to work. So I have a very limited amount of time to record battles and videos when I am working. So yeah, we'll see if I'm able to get any more content out. But if you've ever tried like getting up out of bed and then just like immediately starting to speak and like talk and be animated, it can be a little bit difficult because your body still kind of is asleep for a little while longer. At least for myself, it takes me like an hour or so to wake up when I first get out of bed. I'm still not fully awake. My soul is still sleeping, even though my body is technically physically awake. But anyway, a really cool pick by the opponent there, a clone Charizard. You really don't see too many of those things anymore. I believe those were like a release back in when the Detective Pikachu movie came out. They released all the clone Charizards, the Blastoises, the Venusaurs. They have like the different, like a little bit different looking skin on them. And I don't even remember how you got them. I believe they were only in raids, and at the time I think I was kind of like just imagining that they were going to be the same thing as like the you know, the Pikachus with the hats that we always have, whereas, you know, you don't really care about them because you know that they're just going to be coming back over and over and over again. So I kind of just think that's what I did with the clone Charizard and the clone like Venusaur. I just like thought, oh wow, cool, a Charizard that looks like slightly different than normal, and just like didn't even bother doing any of the raids because I do not have one, even though I was actively playing at the time. But anyway, we're looking a little bit rough here because the opponent is just refusing to use shields, and this Swampert still has 2 shields, and a Swampert with 2 shields is just going to be extremely rough for this team. And they have a very healthy Shadow Walrein as well. And yeah, this is looking a little bit tricky here. Fortunately, does still have a very healthy Registeel, and after a little bit of lock-on damage and probably an Earthquake here, please actually shield this opponent. And no, they don't shield. Unfortunately, if we could have gotten the shield there from a potential Thunder from the Regice, maybe the Registeel could have swept, but this is looking a little bit tricky. That Swampert, I believe, did bank a move, and just has to hope that he can get this last shield off the Walrein. Does get the last shield off the Walrein, and we might be okay now. Doesn't have any shields, but yeah, I think we're going to be okay. And no, the opponent actually makes the snipe here, but I don't think a Hydro KOs here and does have the move banked, so we probably are going to be okay. But no, the Walrein actually banked a Shadow Icicle Spear, and I think this is now game over because they're going to outpace by 1 turn here, and that's going to be a GG. So wow, very well played game. I know I actually wasn't really paying attention to that game very much, but shout out to the opponent there. They played that very, very well there in the end game to get the win. And I think, guys, we are into the very, very last battle of the video here. We have an Aurorus lead, and the opponent once again brings in a Poliwrath. And this is looking a little bit tricky here. This is not a Shadow, so I don't think a Zap Cannon one-shots, and the opponent is shielding their Poliwrath. So yeah, I like this play. You kind of do have to shield because the Registeel here is the only way you can hit this thing for super effective damage. Gonna let this one go, maybe hoping that the opponent will no-shield this, since he no-shielded the Scald. And no, they double shield their Poliwrath, and now gonna have to rely on the Regice here to take this thing out. Can't even go for the Blizzard here. Gonna have to go for the Earthquake, and I don't think that an Earthquake's gonna be enough here. And it looks like the opponent actually made a catch back onto the Aurorus, and unfortunately for us here, the Aurorus does commit to the Meteor Beam. We are going to make another Earthquake, but now, how in the heck are we going to take out this Poliwrath? Okay, fortunately they throw here. I was going to say, if they commit to the full farm down, that would have been extremely rough, but now, I think we're going to have to make a catch here, because I don't think that this Poliwrath is in Focus Blast range, so I think we're going to have to make a catch here on our Registeel to win this game. Let's see, are we going to be able to do this here? The Focus Blast doesn't KO, but fortunately, the opponent does actually switch out into the Dragonite here. But again, I don't think this is a non-Shadow here. Stone Edge isn't quite enough, and we do bring in the Registeel, and they do commit to the farm down, or they don't commit to the farm down. They throw energy here. They throw the superpower. Regirock does get to the move here, and I think Stone Edge is going to be KOing here. This Poliwrath is very, very low and does get the win here. So that last battle was a just cluster of bad commentary, but somehow manages to beat another counter user with the Triple Regi Theme Team. So shout out to PinkGod777. Some absolutely incredible high elo battles. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, we're just going to be ending it right here before I collapse. So thank you guys for watching. I will be trying to get out some content maybe later this weekend if I can convince myself to wake up a few hours early, but thank you for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, if you're not subscribed, please consider doing so, because the more subscribers we can get, the more Pokemon my wife will let me play.